Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum to each and every one of you who's tuned into PTV World and a watching world this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, with me, I'm very lucky to have been joined by my very well-learned colleague, who happens to be Miss Haja Sati. I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan. We hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well. And then at this particular point of time, I guess the first thing first, which I would like to know is, Haja, I hope that you're doing well.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. And there is a very pertinent and important development that took place, especially in Pakistan, in the wee hours of the morning. That is, this morning, Pakistan has undertaken a series of highly coordinated and specifically targeted precision military strikes against the terrorist hideouts in the Sistan-Balochistan province of the Iran. And a number of terrorists have been killed and were killed in the intelligence-based operation codenamed Margberg Sarmachar.
And over the last several years, in our engagements with Iran, Pakistan has consistently shared its serious concerns about the safe havens and sanctuaries enjoyed by Pakistani origin terrorists calling themselves Sarmachars. On the ungoverned spaces inside Iran, Pakistan also shared multiple dossiers with concrete evidence of the presence and activities of these terrorists.
However, because of the lack of action on our serious concerns, these so-called Sarmachars continue to spill the blood of the innocent Pakistanis with impunity, and this morning's actions were undertaken in the light of credible intelligence of impeding large-scale terrorist activities by these so-called Sarmachars.
And this action is a manifestation of Pakistan's unflinching resolve to protect and defend its national security against all threats. The successful execution of this highly complex operation is also a testimony to the professionalism of the Pakistan Armed Forces. Pakistan will continue to take all necessary steps to preserve the safety and security of its people, which is sacrosanct, inviolable and sacred.
Right, and Pakistan fully respects the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Islamic Republic of Iran. And the sole objective, however, of today's act was in pursuit of Pakistan's own security and national interest, which is paramount and that cannot be compromised. To talk further about this very important development, we are joined by PTV special correspondent Raza Khan. Assalamu alaikum, Raza.
Ji wa alaikum salam.
So, Raza, what are your views on these latest development that has just occurred in the wee hours of the morning?
This is a matter of pride for Pakistan and the whole of Pakistani nation that Pakistani armed forces have carried out Operation Margberg Sarmachar, and this early this morning, and what they have done is they have destroyed the PLA, BLF targets within Iran, and the province is called Sistan Balochistan, and the area is Sarawan. And what that has done is send a clear message that Pakistan will not tolerate sanctuaries, be that in Iran or be that in Afghanistan. And we were pushed to carry out this action because of the Iran's own attack on in the Panjgur area of Pakistan, Kohe Subs area. And they had claimed that Jaish al-Adl was present there, but Pakistan clearly condemned it. Ministry of Foreign Affairs immediately released a press release that condemned the Iranian violation of Pakistan's airspace because they had not informed us, and there were channels of communication which existed between armed forces to armed forces and civil government to civil government. So they should have utilized that, but instead of doing that, they used a gung-ho attitude, and they just launched a missile and drone attack. So we had to respond, and Pakistan has responded categorically and decisively. And the message has been sent that nobody should take Pakistan's sovereignty and Pakistan's defense for granted. And Pakistani armed forces deserve credit. The several hideouts and sanctuaries of BLA and BLF in Sarawan area have been destroyed, and there have been casualties amongst the ranks of terrorists who've been attacking Pakistani armed forces within Balochistan and then running back, riding back to these bases and sanctuaries within Sistan Balochistan province of Iran. So a message has been sent not only to Iran but also to Afghanistan and other and India as well, that Pakistan will not stand by any nation. Yes, Iran is a friend. Iran is a friendly Muslim country, and we have had great relations with them. But what steps they took, they called for immediate retaliation, and that's exactly what they have received at the hands of Pakistani armed forces. And for this, a salute goes out to the PAF, Pakistan Army, Pakistan Navy. These people are defending Pakistan's territorial frontiers and aerial frontiers and the maritime frontiers, and the whole nation owes a lot to them. And this Operation Markbar Samachar is a culmination of thorough planning and an excellent execution. Yes, please.
Right.
Thank you so much, Raza Khan, for being with us, and thank you so much for updating our viewers as well. And for everybody who's out there, I think that this is a clear message. Thank you so much to the Pakistan Armed Forces as well for defending the sovereignty of Islamic Republic of Pakistan. And not just that, in addition to this, I think this is a clear message that Iran always happens to be a brotherly country, and Pakistan has always looked forward to kind of making sure that we cooperate in confronting the menaces that exist for both the countries as well. The kind of love we have for the Iranian brothers and sisters is something which is undeniable as well. So for everybody who's out there, I think that nobody ever should be allowed, in fact, nobody should ever think of it of violating Pakistan's defense or the sovereignty or the airspace in that matter as well. So for everybody who's out there, I think Pakistan Armed Forces, a big salute to you. Thank you so much for defending the sovereignty of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, and we certainly take pride in our armed forces.
Right, and certainly we are in the month of January, and Shahzad, the importance of this month is now kick-starting our segment, and let's talk about a very pertinent issue that is afflicting not just Pakistan but across the globe, which is it is observed as the Blood Donor Awareness Month. And the theme of 2024 this year, January's Blood Donor Awareness Month, is celebrating diversity, inclusivity and equity in blood donation. And obviously, we are going to talk more about it. For example, who is eligible for the blood donations and what is the requirements if someone wants to donate for that, and obviously what are the individual risks in blood donations and the resulting diseases that stem if we are not careful about the blood donations. For example, HIV/AIDS, for example, hepatitis, and we've seen especially few years ago that Pakistan was a breeding ground when it comes to the transmission of the HIV/AIDS because of the blood donation and because of the unsafe equipment and tools that were used by especially the quacks and people's proclivity to move towards the quacks instead of following the doctor's recommendation. So we are very glad that we have been joined by one of the very important doctors. He happens to be a gastroenterologist and a liver specialist, and he's from the Maroof International Hospital. Thank you so much, Dr. Usman Aftab, for joining us, and thank you and welcome to our show.
Well, thank you for having me as always.
And it's wonderful to have you over here. So we're talking about Blood Donor Month. You know, I have a story to share. Obviously, when I was a university student, every now and then we would have these blood donor camps, and we would certainly go, and that too so that we could get some free juices and whatnot as well. It's beautiful. But for all of those people, because I guess that this day specifically means to kind of highlight the generosity of the people who've been saving lives and who've been donating blood. So we'll start from there. But how important it is for any healthy individual to donate blood. Let's get started from here.
So it's very important, to be honest. And in the same vein of the day, the same spirit, I think it's more of the acknowledgement of we can give to the people, others suffering and sacrifices. This is one of the acts that you can do as an individual, as a common man. You don't have to be a big shot or in an army officer or anybody. Yeah. This is how you can play your part in the general upbringing and safety of your community. Wow. So in terms of, there are lots of myths about blood transfusion or blood donation. Your blood cells die within 120 days regardless what happens. So it will replenish yourself anyways. Your blood will recycle. So if you give blood donation, it's a very small amount of blood that we take, about 400 to 500 mils, and that is it. That's even less than a liter. This rejuvenates your blood cells. This kickstarts your bone marrow and your blood producing cells in your body, which enhance in other ways just push your health in the right direction, and it's like just kickstarts your system. So yes, it's the best kind of deed. You're helping others, and then you're helping yourself. So I think you lose nothing, and you're helping others.
No, but you know, there are always people who, you know, who are not certainly willing to donate blood as well, because they're not very well aware of the health benefits of what's going to happen. So, you know, they're always confused. They're like, okay, pata nahi mujhe chakkar aa jayenge, you know, there's going to be andhera in front of my eyes, you know, things like that. You get to hear that as well. And for people who've already donated blood are the people who I believe are the ambassadors of, kind of going to the people and kind of talking to them that, that it will give you all the health benefits. So when we talk about donating blood, do you think that anybody and everybody can donate blood, or do you think that there's always a distinction in between who can give or donate blood and who cannot?
Eligibility criteria, yes.
So first I'll answer your first question about apprehensions. I think most of the people are apprehensive of the needles rather than the act of giving itself.
Yeah.
Most people are in fear of that.
Yeah.
I think people who are having second thoughts should just visit the doctors. I think you rightly said in the beginning that students are our nurseries to get blood. So if you've once seen what your blood does to others' life, I will tell you there will be queues outside to donate blood.
But not at the cost of not knowing what it will do to my life as well. So this is something
Exactly.
which we would want people to know today.
So health benefits, as
Yep.
we discussed, are there. There are research about cardiovascular benefits as well. There are researches about, well, I won't say weight loss, you lose some calories, but I think that's more to do with kickstarting your system. Blood pressure benefits, people who have blood pressure problems, they get better. So the myths around who is eligible and who is not eligible. Funnily enough, nature and Allah has made us in different colors, breeds and everything.
True.
On the inside,
Everybody's
everybody's blood is color is the same. In heart's color is the same, intestine's color is the same.
Wonderful.
So all we need to be, don't be worried about if you've got diabetes or blood pressure or other problems. If you're in a general good health, you're not anemic, that means your blood level is not low or not known to have low hemoglobin level, and you don't have any communicable diseases like we said HIV, hepatitis B, treated hepatitis C even at the moment is not. Now this is where health sector has to play its part as well. Careful screening, which is part of the WHO and national criteria and even Pakistan's criteria as well now, that every blood that is transfused or donated has to be screened prior to withdrawing blood. So the criteria for not giving blood is very small and minimal. So that should not shy away people from this.
No, and is there a minimum weight as well that, okay, you really need to weigh this much, to give away, or donate blood?
You should not be malnourished. You should not be skin and bone, because I think that will be cruel.
Right,
Because we have seen people, you draw 1 pint of blood and you end up giving them 2 of your own. If you're in a good general health, not underweight, good body mass index above 22, you should be fine.
Wonderful.
But, and thank you so much for saying that, and especially for alluding to the importance of screening, because I was going to ask you this question, and especially we've seen in Pakistan that there was an outbreak of HIV/AIDS because of the, the unsafe practices that were carried out, and especially the blood donations that are carried out. So if someone, as a lay person, right, if I want to donate my blood, so what is the criteria that I should follow, especially coming from someone who is an expert like you in that particular field? So what are some of the check boxes that I need to look at and then go and do the blood donations?
So what I would always recommend is, once you've decided that you want to donate blood, you pick the government approved centers.
Okay.
So don't go to willy-nilly centers, bigger hospitals. If you're worried too much about it, then what you can do, the only way you can get transmission being a blood donor is the blood collection set. So people who are apprehensive in our field as well, there will always be people who are apprehensive. So what I recommend is that you can buy your own blood donation kit from a vendor of your choice. It's freely available. I think that's what you can do. The other flip side of it, in Western world even, we've found a lot of people who come forward for blood donation get to find out that they've already got something.
True.
So that's let's say a free screening check for yourself, a free health check for yourself as well. But if you want to be sure of what you're not getting into trouble, is go for government approved centers, bigger hospitals, and obviously if you're too finicky about it, then buy your own kit.
Exactly, buy your own kit, and if you do not feel like it, at least start advocating other people if you're not doing it as well. Only, as Dr. Saab has actually kind of alluded to it as well, that if you're scared of the needle, kind of ask your friends that, they might be helpful for other people. But now, sir, there's another challenge. Now, imagine that in the recent times, we have seen people suffer from COVID, we've seen people suffer from flu, we have some ill viruses around us where people, it's getting difficult for them to get better. Now imagine that for that period of time, and people who've actually been, given those vaccines and whatnot, and there are other illnesses which are around, and specifically in winter season, we do see that there's a reduction in blood donation. How do you think that we need to spread awareness amongst people that, okay, even if you had COVID, even if you had the vaccine, it's perfectly okay to go and donate blood as well? And why do you think that we see a decline in blood donation specifically in winter season?
So the reason for choosing January as a blood donation month was this
Yep.
specific thing,
Right.
that we should tell people that this is okay time. I know, and you're rightly saying it's America. There were a lot of my sister, who's a cardiothoracic surgeon in America. She came across people who were needing heart transplants and bypasses, and they refused to take blood from people who've got COVID vaccines.
Exactly.
So this misinformation is not just
Okay.
in Pakistan. This is
Everywhere.
Now, yes, people will have seasonal illnesses. Simple seasonal illnesses will not get transmitted through blood transfusion,
Okay.
and it will not harm you for blood donation. Yes, I agree, people who've got respiratory problems like COPD or asthma, if they are worried about it because they are more prone to get chest infections or flu-like symptoms, they can take a rest for a couple of months as well. But you can plan this. If you are an avid advocate and avid blood donor, you can give it in September and October and give this, because we always tell people to wait for about 3 months
Yeah.
to replenish yourself before you give.
I was about to ask this because someone told me that, that
Right.
it's a 6-month cycle and you should come back after every 6 months to donate blood. But now you're telling us that, it takes almost 3 months.
3 months. 120 days is the life of an RBC, which is the red blood cell. So regardless, it stays in your body, it bleed it out, whatever, it will recycle.
Exactly.
So might as well just give it to somebody who it will help.
And in addition to that, we have seen the transfusion of blood platelets as well, and specifically in times of COVID. So how many times do you think that it's rather blood donation, or is it more of platelet donation in these times that we live?
So the good thing is, when you choose your blood donor center, they will tell you what is the requirement these
Okay.
days. So if, like in COVID times, there were shortages, or dengue times when there are outbreaks, governments and the institution health sector needs platelets more. So this is why it's best to present yourself to the center, who will tell you which
What
is
is
the
required.
requirement at the moment. I would take an opportunity for people who've got a negative blood group. I think in Pakistan, because we are more positive prone blood group as a society, people who've got negative blood group, I urge them, request them to make yourself, to present yourself to these centers. They might not need your blood then. What they can do is they can take your numbers and contact details, because we have ran around in hospitals and everything, especially in major catastrophes,
Right.
when we need the negative blood group.
True.
So I think that's a rare groups.
And is it probably because of the fact, so I'm kind of getting awareness and I'm getting educated by whatever you're saying. Is it because that the negative blood groups can actually be given to any other blood group?
So technically, yes.
Okay.
The first protocol is always group matching. Type group match we would like to give. In major traumas or major surgeries or major blood loss, like when we have the calamities and catastrophes, this is when, yes, negative, same type can go, like a B positive can have a B negative blood.
Okay.
O negative is the gold. So because it is a universal
Diamond.
donor.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a universal donor. But firstly, we try to group match, but in shortages, obviously, negative blood groups can be given. But the problem is for people who are injured or they need blood group who've got O negative themselves.
Yeah.
They
that-
can only receive blood from O negative
negative.
people. So this is why I say, notify yourself. It used to be part of our driving license as well.
Yeah.
Tell them it's a service that costs you nothing.
And Dr. Saab, what is this demarcation of different blood types? For example, you talked about positives and negatives. What are the implications of that, right? And as someone who's from this particular field, enlighten us about, why is there the dissection of these particular blood groups, and
So-
what does that denote?
In layman term,
Right.
basically is plus and minus is because of rhesus. This is antibody antigen on a blood.
Okay,
So what happens in people who've got positive, they've got that.
okay.
Now what happens is, if we give that positive blood to somebody who's negative, or we give a B blood group to an A blood group, this will react, cause an immunological reaction.
Okay.
Because A and B will start fighting with each other. This is why plus and minus will fight. People who have minus negative blood group, they don't have that rhesus anyways. So they don't have anything to fight. So this is why it is more easier to give.
They're fine with any positive or any negative.
The gentle people, I will advocate for. I'm not negative, but I would like to say negative people are better in this case.
Yeah, only we're talking about blood types, ladies and gentlemen. We're not talking about mentally, okay? So please make sure that you bear that in mind as well. But now, sir, you know, eventually let's come down to how much blood do you think is required away in Pakistan? For example, there are illnesses like thalassemia, other, you know, cancer illnesses as well. You know, there are burn centers which require blood, you know, there are accidents. So what is the basic requirement of a country, you know, God forbid, if we are to talk about, you know, how blood donations will kind of work for other people out there?
So let me just give you a very horrifying picture. In our part of the world, and in Pakistan and the developing countries, the single most common cause of death is road traffic accidents.
True.
In young age group. And they die by shock, like blood loss and everything. So this is the young age group. Plus thalassemia and all, this is again, you see a lot of people, because it can run in the families, lots of people with low socioeconomic status can have these things as well. So they need blood on regular basis. So the shortfall is like humongous.
Even with dialysis as well, do we require blood?
We don't need blood transfusions with dialysis, but problem happens is people who've got chronic kidney diseases, their blood is they're already anemic.
True.
The function is different, why they get anemic, but they do need blood from time to time.
True.
But not as a rule. But mostly it's road traffic accidents, people who've got thalassemia, like you said, people who are having major surgeries, like bypasses and etc. So even bigger centers are having shortfalls.
True.
Transplant centers, they need bloods and bloods and bloods. So there is always going to be a shortage, even if there was a national blood donation program. So we are a 224 crore population. Out of that, I am sure at least half of them will be eligible.
Yeah, and 26 crore ballot papers are being printed as well. So I think we are close to 26 crore as well. But in addition to this, there's this one thing which I've observed very recently. So imagine that one of my friend's uncle, may he get well soon as well, he got burned. 46% of his body got burned, unfortunately. So what happened was that when we took him to hospital, the hospital asked us to donate as much blood as we can. You know, they didn't ask for any certain or specific blood group, but they're like, okay, whoever can go and just give a pint of blood, and I think that's going to be fine. Earlier, there used to be a mechanism where, you know, that the blood group really needs to match and only then you can donate blood as well. So how do you think that the hospitals at the back end are managing that whatever blood's coming in, let it come in, and that we will manage for your patient? May it be any other blood group.
So basically, it's poor health sector, which is begging, borrowing, stealing, groveling, and just doing minnat samajit.
True.
What they are trying to do is they will take your blood. So like if I have blood B positive, you have A positive, you need A positive, I'm happy to donate blood. Hospital will say, or this center will say, fine. What we will do is you give us your blood and we will from our storage help your people.
Okay.
So because it's better for you, you don't have to run around and find a type match.
True.
But it helps them as well, because their cohort and their stocks are not replenishing. Otherwise, you will be running around the cities. I'm sure you have friends who keep calling everybody, I want blood for my father or sister or brother. So this is how health sector just tries to help people.
And in addition to that, there's one menace as well, and that is that, you know, that very story I actually shared with you at the beginning of the program. The sole purpose to share was that I'm going to end it over here. So imagine that they used to come to our, I'm not going to name it, but imagine that they used to come to our university and ask for blood donations, and were always like, whenever you will need it, we'll give you this card and you can come to us, then you will get free blood as well. Unfortunately, there was an instance where I needed blood, you know, for somebody. I went to them, I showed them that card, and they said that you have to pay for the blood. And I was like, imagine that these companies are coming to students in universities saying that, God forbid, if you will require it, you know, we will give it to you for free, rather they are charging money as well. I think that all of these malpractices kind of shouldn't be going unnoticed, and there should be people who should raise concerns about that as well. But very quickly towards the end, for a person who's actually kind of getting that donated blood, what do you think they need to do? First, screening, we've spoken about it. Are there other predispositions to that?
Just get yourself rehydrated.
Okay.
Hydrate yourself pre and post giving blood.
Okay.
Center will do your screening. You don't worry about it.
Okay.
And obviously, as a patient, how do you know that the blood that you are getting or the blood bank that you are getting is not, I mean, infected with some sort of disease or something like that? Is it possible?
It is possible. This is why I said first, government approved. Bigger centers, don't go to smaller, like unfortunately you had an unfortunate incident as well. So pick a government approved big center.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
But thank you so much,
Thank you
Dr.
so
Usman Aftab sir, for being with us and that
Thank
to
you so
talk
much.
about such an important month. Ladies and gentlemen, for everybody who's out there, there's one thing which I would love to mention today. Very sorry. And that is that I've always seen, I think this is something which is overwhelming for me, that I've always seen Maroof International Hospital's doctors being at the forefront of community service. You know, what they do in the hospital is something which they're treating patients as well. But for them to take out time, come over here, be on television and speak about all of these things, which will certainly make us a healthier community, is something which I would love to appreciate always. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you so
Wonderful
much.
to have you over here. And for everybody who's out there, where we've spoken about the health, I think we really need to talk about a little bit about law too as well today. So ladies and gentlemen, don't go.
Welcome back, and before going on to the break, Shahzad alluded to the fact that what sort of topic are we going to discuss in this segment, which is related to the law and the legality and the practices which can help the ordinary and the common people out there, especially if they require any legal assistance in the cases of family matters. So without any further ado, we are very glad that we have been joined by one of the very well-known lawyer. He happens to be Advocate Shahzad Alvi. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Thank you very much.
Right.
It's always
so-
wonderful to have you over here. You know, it's fascinating to see how you're always out there to help people, you know, who are in need as well.
Yeah.
Right. So I think let's start our conversation and let's talk about what sort of problems are we expecting in the family courts and what sort of delays that are we expected, especially when we are resolving the family issues.
Well, so for your question is concerned, in Pakistan, the litigation rate, especially the family law, that has been increased for the last 10 years, probably what I'll say. The family disputes, multiple reasons, what I'll say, the ratio of the family conflicts has been raised, not in Pakistan, but I'll say that's all over the world as well. And there are a lot of problems with the litigants which they are facing. And the problem is of the, what I'll say, the delay in the process, especially in the maintenance cases. Because normally when there is a dispute between the spouses and a lady, in maximum of the cases, she's having the kids, she files the case for the maintenance. That takes so much long time, and to survive in that particular situation is very much difficult, especially in this era, as the people they are facing the inflation and the very expensive rates of the necessities. So to meet those expenses and to get relief from the court, it takes so much time, and that is the basic difficulty which I have come across through my practice. And then later on, what I'll say, that the system which I have seen in the other countries of the world, there is a mediation before the litigation. That is not here in Pakistan. I mean,
but we do have the ADR centers, alternative dispute resolution centers, and they are a success stories, especially for poor people, for the destitute people. For example, if someone is coming from a labor background and he does not have that much of a resources to hire a lawyer, because we know that it's not a very, a cost-effective process, right? And ADRs have happened to assist them a lot. So when we talk about ADRs, do you find that they should be replicated in every province and in every centers, especially when we are dealing with the family
Because
cases?
just very recently trainings have been conducted, you know, for judges and lawyers and everybody because of the alternate dispute resolution centers which are being constituted just very recently.
yes. In Pakistan, the normal practice which is going on, that is jirga and panchayat and these things.
True. But they're
And
not
when-
supported by the law,
yes,
right?
that is not supported by the law.
Of course.
Because in maximum of the cases, the maximum the number of the dispute which will say that has been resolved through, this is a Biradari system, this is a jirga system, this is a panchayat system, and in that system, the old, their
Rivalries, yes.
traditions and their thoughts that prevails, and normally in that system the female is always victimized.
Exactly, and that's literally true, that that most of the brunt is actually to be handled by the women of that family as well. So what kind of remedies are being provided by the court of law for the women of the country? Let's talk about
Yes, the law is there. I mean, the first is instant remedy, that is the union council. That if a lady she come across with the problem, she should immediately concern to the concerning union council where she resides or where the nikah is registered normally.
that. Okay.
And the second thing is, there is a new forum which has been constituted, that is FOSMA, Federal Ombudsman for the ladies. That is for the harassment, but not only for the harassment, that is for the specific purpose if there is some inheritance issues or some sort of a very serious issues. But so far the maintenance and the other her problem related to the dissolution of marriage and the custody of the children, that she has to approach to the court. And the system continuously, the legislation is coming, system is going faster and faster, but still I think that when the lady she approached to the court, normally she gets the date of 15 to 20 days for the notice, then again one notice, second notice, third notice, that takes normally 3 to 4 months.
True.
And to survive in 3-4 months without expense, having 3-4 kids, for example, it's very difficult. So what I'll say, that the courts, this is my suggestion, and that I have been written to the high-ups as well, that when she approached, the process of summoning to call upon the husband, the person who has to support the children, that is called child support, that should be very speedy.
Okay.
And at the moment, it is, I think, it has been become speedy as compared to the previous cases, but at the moment still I think it's slow.
And also let's talk about especially the women inmates who are in the jail cells or the captives there. Are they, because obviously a mother is very close to her children,
Sure.
and are they given support when we talk about the child support, so they can meet their children, or if their children are very young and they require the assistance of their mother or they require the love of the mother, so what sort of support is provided? And after she's released from the prison, the taboo that is surrounding her, so is there any legal remedy to tackle that particular problem?
Yes. So for the visitation, your question is of the kids with the mother in the prison, if she is, that is available in the law.
Okay.
But the process to go in the prison and to stay with the mother is very complicated,
Oh,
because it's absolutely, it's not a legal issue, it's an administrative issue.
Okay.
right.
And the administration of the current situation, that is, there are multiple complaints that
Right.
they are not supporting the kids, and
Right.
especially the second part of your question is that the taboo which she is facing, of course, when she faced the prison.
And obviously the
True.
children has to go to the schools because they have to continue their education, and going from the jail to the school, and the taboo and the dilemma that they have to face, I mean, it's a very sorry state of affairs, right?
It is, and unfortunately, I think that you've actually pointed it out rightly, that it's not a legal issue, it's more of an administrative issue as well.
True.
But another administrative issue which I believe is that, for example, if any lady, if any woman out there is in need of a lawyer, then what happens is that, first of all, obviously, you know, it's expensive literally these days, the basic necessity, we've spoken about it, but the cost is really high. For example, if we are to hire Shahzad Alvi Saab, you know, Shahzad Alvi Saab is a big fish, you know, it's hard for us to kind of afford Shahzad Alvi Saab. How do you think that we can actually have a system where women or men, you know, who cannot afford to kind of be out there and kind of fight for their cause, how do you think that they can manage it?
Yes. Ministry of Law has also introduced the pro bono services,
Okay.
and then I'm practicing in Islamabad, so Islamabad Bar Council has also promoted this pro bono services and has introduced, especially for the young lawyers, those don't have the clients and they want to learn this, and even
no, that's
even
the problem. Pro bono ke upar, you know, I mean, I'm very sorry that you know it's sounding like this, but imagine for a lawyer who already does not have who have zero clients, you know, is going to fight my case on pro bono basis. I mean, that's going to be a little difficult for me to understand and comprehend whether which way my case will go.
No. There are multiple NGOs, there are multiple organizations,
Okay.
those who are working, and there are those who are providing the pro bono services as well. And the second thing is that in the city where I am practicing, and even I have come across in Rawalpindi as well, in Lahore as well, that there are the big chambers, those who are supporting their associates to prepare their cases and to give them a proper guidance. And in Islamabad, the Bar Council has given a direction to the judges that those the fresh lawyers, and especially those who are dealing with the family cases, they have been very much encouraged. And even I have seen the conduct of the judges here is very good, that they have given, if they feel that the counsel, who is a very fresh lawyer, he has not conducted the case properly, they give a they advise to the senior counsel to guide him properly. And here I have seen that the young community, which they have come from Kadana University, Islamic University, Bari University, they're very hard worker, and the seniors, they are very good, and especially the behavior of judges, the lower judiciary, what I'll say, that's very ideal in Islamabad.
Exactly, and that's the kind of environment that we certainly want for people to kind of flourish as well. For newer councils, to come in and fight cases in pro bono. I think it gives them an opportunity to prove their mettle as well. But now, sir, unfortunately over here, there's so many viruses and COVID and so much of illnesses that we're very well aware of which doctor to go to whenever, God forbid, if we are sick or ill. How do you think that any layman can decide which lawyer to go to? Because every lawyer you're going to go to, Ajay sir, aap bhi Ajay sir, they have number of clients. It's hard for them to manage. So how do you think any individual can decide to pick up on a lawyer who's going to benefit him?
It's a very difficult question. You should have asked.
And I request you to be as honest as you can be.
No, definitely. The thing is that there is a certain reputation of every lawyer, which you get it very easily from the court areas, that who is the specialist in criminal law, who is specialist in the civil law, and who is specialist in the family law. Normally we see that the family law is maximum, the lawyers, those who are dealing with the family law, they are the female lawyers.
Okay.
Because the people feel, especially the females, they feel very comfortable with the female lawyer.
Okay.
And so far the other lawyers are concerned, I tell you one thing very clearly, especially the audience, those who are listening me. Family law is absolutely a discretion of a family court. Family court is a special court.
Yeah.
That's a tribunal.
True.
And family court is not bound under the legislature regarding the maintenance, regarding the giving a certain direction. The family court, they have a privilege that they can go beyond their jurisdiction to get the justice or to give a relief to the
Noted. And can it be challenged as well?
Yeah, of course it is challengeable through writ jurisdiction in High Court. Or in
Then that's where the delay takes place, no?
That is there. But the immediate relief, my concern is, the family court can give it very easily, and they have a very vast powers even beyond their jurisdiction as well.
Right, and Advocate Alvi, you mentioned about how, especially the Islamabad, the attitude of the lawyers, the attitude of the judges, it's very encouraging. But what about people who are not particularly living in Islamabad and who are living in the fringes of the country? And obviously, there's a very famous adage that says justice delayed is justice denied, right? So what if they need the justice? And obviously, courts are there, but if they do not feel comfortable with the sort of decision that has been turned down, and they do not have the resources to further challenge that particular decision. So what sort of assistance is there? And secondly, what are some of the major reforms that you as an advocate feel should be there in the family, in this entire family matters?
Yes, the first reform which I'll advise, which I think personally, that there must be some legal officers, they must be appointed in the Union Council area, because Union Council is the first instance in the remote area of Pakistan.
Okay.
Because over there, they are sitting the political, the Nazam, the chairman, Union Council, they are sitting. Then there is always a secretary of a Union Council, but they don't have any legal assistance over there. There must be some lawyers over there, and those who must be very much expert in the family law as well, specifically. The other thing is the reforms which I think, I'll come on the previous question, the Shahzad asked about the jail and the prison. I have come across recently, 2 days before, a case related to Darul Aman.
Okay.
And it was a very horrible report that the girls, those who have been sent to Darul Aman, They are facing a very tragic situation over there.
Okay.
They are not giving the proper food. Even my client, she told me that she has been given a food only one time in 24 hours.
Oh my God.
And this is what I have complained to the court as well.
Right.
And the other thing is that the behavior of the Darul Aman administration is very, very bad.
Okay.
Because the situation becomes very worse when a lady, if she took a wrong step as per the tradition that she go for the runaway marriage, she has to face
The taboos.
no,
and-
she has to face two problems. The first problem that if she go back to the home, there is apprehension of honor killing by the brother or the
Oh my
father.
God.
True.
This is happening in our society.
It's very problematic.
Or if it is not honor killing, then they have to face the extreme criticism by the family or the surrounding people. If she comes back to the Darul Aman, she has to face these problems because many people they think that she doesn't have any background at the moment. She is totally depends upon us. So this is the question. This is a very important issue, which thanks to Allah Almighty that Allah has given me a chance to highlight in this forum.
Right.
That the situation of Darul Aman and the
Should be
situation of the lady prisons, that must be, there needs a proper reforms, there must be proper take care of the very good and responsible people. And so for your question,
And sir, very quickly, because you know, certainly I'm not kind of denying what you're trying to say over here, but since it is your opinion and you might have gone through it as well, so PTV World does not endorse it, but I think you as a lawyer, you know, you might have experienced
this
it,
is
so
my
you're
personal
sharing your
opinion.
thoughts. I think, thank you so much for kind of agreeing to disagreeing as well, and thank you so much for respecting our limitations.
No,
Thank
of
you so
course.
much. Please, moving on.
and so for the second question is concerned, which you ask, that the first instance that I have been told about the Union Council, and the second thing is that there are the human rights NGOs, those who are working properly. There must be a proper advertisement in the court areas.
Okay.
There must be some signboards
Right.
that if a litigant who does not have the resources, who does not have the amount to pay the
Means, yes.
fee to the lawyers, there must be some proper advertisement in the courtroom, and especially before the
the
barroom areas, that these are the lawyers, these are the numbers, those who are available for the pro bono services, and even government of Pakistan is paying, the human rights cell is paying those lawyers.
And that's a wonderful initiative, and I think this is a very important step, especially when we talk about creating the awareness, because their target audience is particularly in the court cases, right? Because they're dealing with the family issues. But thank you so much, sir, for coming here, for sharing the wonderful thoughts regarding the reforms and what sort of family issues are being faced in the courts and how to resolve them if especially someone belongs to a not so wealthy background and if he has a problem accessing or hiring a lawyer. So with that, we will say Allah Hafiz, and until next time, it's a good
It's a good morning. Look after.